Hi. It's Roy. Listen. I've got myself into a bit of trouble and I need your help. And it's not my fingers in the till. If that's what you're thinking. I made a bit of a mess and I wouldn't bother you, but there's no one else. Please call me back as soon as you get this. I need your help. Subtitles by Memory on Smells. UKSubtitles.ru. Don't half go on a bit, don't they? 20 minutes on the one tune? Musicians come from all over their country to play in these sessions. You know. Gimme take that, flashing lights. A pint of Stella. Any day. Kidding. This is nice. Ish. Another? A whiskey. Large. Stephen. 2 M's. 2 T's, 2 S. In committee. Ben. Millibars, not milliliters. To measure air pressure. James. Carbohydrates contain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Don't forget the oxygen. And MJ, you're doing your best. That's the main thing. And remember, 2 puffs on your inhaler before you go to sleep. Helen. Hi. Sir. Dismissed. Tight ship, eh, Helen? Of course. I'll leave you to it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been thinking, Alan, about the baby and everything, and I just don't know how I'm going to dump her at a nursery every day when she's only 6 months old. All new mothers think that. It's easy to say that, but now it's almost here. I'm worried I might not be, you know, very good at the whole parenting thing. Oh, come on, Annie. You'll be a great mother. What? Nothing. Alan Banks. You'll learn a lot from him. Knows how to put a team together. And keep it together. I'm just not sure that I'm a team player. You're the most accomplished, most rigorous, most dedicated officer I've ever had under my command. But you've got to fulfill your potential. This move is good for you. It's the right move. And it's right for me. I need you in Major Crimes. Well, good night, then. Good night. Annie? What is it? Nothing. Have you taken your folic acid? Shut up. What? Stop being so understanding. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Be judgmental. Look at me like you look at one of your suspects. Tell me I have screwed up my career, screwed up my whole life. Tell me you're jealous. Okay, I get it. I'm pregnant. Everything's changed. We're work colleagues. No more, no less. We move on. Good for you. Well, put this in one of your compartments. I don't want to be your work colleague. So, after I've had the baby, I won't be back. All right? Good night. Annie. New Oak Cottage, Grant Leigh. Should have kept it in your pants, mate. It's not mine. It'll be a soft landing. I'll make sure Banks eases you in gently. Thank you, sir. Any time. How did it go? I start tomorrow. Annie, come on. Pick up. Listen. I'm sorry about earlier and, you know, since you told me you were pregnant, I have been keeping my distance. And call me back, will you? Just keep that, mate. Thanks. Oh, shit. You have one new message. Message received today at 20:34. Hi. It's Roy. Listen. I've got myself into a bit of trouble and I need your help. Fingers in the till again. And it's not my fingers in the till. If that's what you're thinking, I'm in a bit of a mess and I wouldn't bother you, but there's no one else. Please call me back soon as you get this. I need your help, Alan. Hi. You're through to Roy. I can't come to the phone. But if you'd like to leave a message, I'll call you back. Hi. You're through to Roy. I can't come to the phone, but if you'd. Where's the boss? He'll be here in a bit. Uh-oh. Who's that? Dunno. Morning, everyone. Sir. Where's Banks? I haven't been able to locate him, sir. What? He left a message. He's got a bit of personal business to attend to. Well, tell him to forget that and get back. I've tried, but he's not answering his mobile or landline. This is D.I. Helen Morton. She's covering your maternity leave. Annie. Helen? Senior rank. You're in charge. You're kidding. Well, you can't do it. You're off on maternity leave next week. So get back to the office and get a murder room set up and find Banks. So, when are you due? 6 weeks. Drug-free. It's best. Honestly. D.S. Jackman, D.C. Blackstone. Could you walk me through it, please? How does she know our names? Alan. Where are you? She was found at 7:15 this morning by a couple of walkers. Cars registered under a Jennifer Lewis. Driver's license photo confirms it's her. Lives out near Harrogate. D.I. Helen Morton. Morning. Right. Well, body temperature and progress of rigor. I'm putting the time of death at between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Cause in small caliber. .22, maybe. I'll need that bullet out of her as soon as possible. Why is the window open? Good question. No bullet hole. She opened it herself. Okay, you can get started. D.C. Blackstone, Crime Scene Manager. D.S. Jackman, you're coordinating all investigative actions. You'd better call this in as a Cat 1. Sir? Just found that in there. Glove compartment. Thanks, Tony. Annie? Found in the car. New Oak Cottage, Beckside Lane. That's Banks' address. All right. Leave it with me, Ken. Thanks. Leave it with me. All right? Alan, where are you? Look. Call me back as soon as you get this message. It's urgent. His car's gone. No sign of anything untoward. Apart from his mobile phone. It's been trashed. Okay. Thanks, Ken. Right. We've got a senior police officer missing. The same officer's address is found on a murder victim. We need to be concerned about DCI Banks's welfare. It seems you were the last person to see him, D.S. Cabot. Didn't your partner mind you spending the whole evening in the pub with DCI Banks? Oh, I don't have a partner. This is a solo mission. Okay. I'm just trying to establish their exact nature of your relationship with DCI Banks. What has that got to do with anything? Evidence schedule. This was found in the victim's car by DC Tony Hamilton this morning. Signed over to DC Blackstone at 9:24. DC Blackstone passed it directly to you. But you didn't log it into exhibits until 10:35. A delay of 1 hour and 11 minutes. You wouldn't have been calling DCI Banks to alert him to his connection to this inquiry, would you? You asked me to find DCI Banks, sir. I was trying to do that. It's vital evidence, Annie. D.I. Morton, as CIO, should have been made aware of it immediately. And I thought I should contact DCI Banks first. He is my line manager. He ceased to be your line manager and became a key witness at 9:24 this morning. When this was found in the victim's car. You should know that, D.S. Cabot. And you should know that Alan DCI Banks runs an excellent unit here with an excellent clear-up rate. You might want to think twice before you start undermining him. I think it might be best if your maternity leave starts now, Annie. What? Maternity leave starts now. I'll clear out my desk. She's loyal to Banks. They all are. 2 things you need to do, Helen. Find Jennifer Lewis's killer. And inspire the kind of loyalty Banks inspires. Can I help you, mate? I'm looking for Roy. I'm Alan. Roy's brother. Bloody hell. Roy didn't tell me. His brother was a cop. Well, Roy wouldn't, would he? Malcolm Farlow. I live next door. Have you seen Roy recently? Not for a few days. Listen, Malcolm. There's a bit of a family crisis. And I really need to see him. I've got a spare key to his house. Roy? BRRRMM. Oh. I'm sorry. Where's Roy? I don't know. I'm Alan, his brother. I am Corinne, his fiancée. I'm here to kill him. Okay, everyone. Gather round. Gather round. Quiet, please. This was found in the glove compartment of Jennifer Lewis's car. DCI Alan Banks address. Alan Banks is now a key witness in this inquiry. And we will treat him as we would any other key witness. First priority, we need him located and brought in for a positional statement. Meantime, if he contacts any of you, you refer him straight to me. Clear? Jennifer Lewis. 31 years old. Office manager. From Caxton, near Harrogate. Jennifer hadn't been seen since yesterday lunchtime. All we know is that she was over 20 miles from her home late last night. Possibly on her way to or from DCI Banks' house. Why? What's her connection to Banks? We need to get through the minutiae of her life. Friends, family, work colleague, associates, all traced and interviewed as a priority. Ballistics. Dr. Glendinnings's recovered the bullet from her skull. .22. Crime scene. Interim forensics report. There's not much. They are still sweeping the car and locales for prints and DNA. Okay. How did the killer get there? How did he, or she, get away? Well, either in the car with Jennifer, which means an escape on foot, or he or she was in another vehicle. The window was opened by Jennifer, which suggests she knew her killer, or she didn't feel under threat. So, was her killer following her? Service stations, garages, roadside cafes, on the main routes between Here and Harrogate. That's a big, speculative sweep. No, it's not. Her petrol tank was almost completely full. So we're within a what? 5-mile sweep northeast of the crime scene. Okay. Let's get going. Yeah, I know it's a bit early. Roy was supposed to come over to mine last night. He didn't show. He's not even phoned. When did you last see him? Weekend. You know, I actually allowed myself wedding fantasies. A 30 grand extravaganza in Mauritius. Or something, with the whole family. He's seeing someone else, isn't he? Listen. It might not be what you think. He could be in trouble. He left in a hurry. He didn't set the alarm. Didn't take his car. Have you looked around? His office upstairs? Core. Roy's doing well for himself. If he's in trouble, that means he might not be having an affair, which is good. I mean, not good if he's in trouble, but good if he's not having an affair. He's wiped the hard disk. Why would he do that? What's he hiding? I don't know. But I know where it might be. The Blue Lamps. My son's band. Thanks. Thank you. Porn? No, not porn. Escorts. Exotic companions. Go. UK. Looks pretty high class. That makes me feel so much better. Who are these two? Gareth Lambert. Roy's business partner. You don't like him? Another white boy. And the other one? I don't know. I love him, you know. I mean, he's untrustworthy, immature, irresponsible. But when he smiles and turns on the charm, you can forgive him anything. Sorry. I'm telling you stuff you already know. There's 12 years difference between us. I hardly know him. T.S. Winsor Jackman. I'm just here to ask a few questions. Yeah? Do you recognize this lady? Yeah? She came in last night. What time? They came in 8:30, 8:45? She was with a bloke. They seemed. There was a lot of snogging and holding hands. Right. Can you call your supervisor? I need to access your CCTV hard drives now. Please. Are you search team? Yeah? D.I. Helen Morton. Who's this? Jennifer's flatmate. Jennifer was she was different. Different? She had she was a decent person. She had morals and principles. You know. Why would someone, and you last saw her yesterday lunchtime? Yes. I knew something wasn't right. Something was bothering her. I mean, really bothering her. I didn't ask. I should have, but I didn't. I'm sorry. What about boyfriends? Don't hold back on me. It's vital. You tell me everything you know. There was someone from her work. But she wouldn't talk about it. I think he was married. I don't have a name or anything. I'm sorry. I thought you said Jennifer had morals and principles. She did. But she was having an affair with a married man. That doesn't make her a bad person. Does it? And Jennifer worked at the Berg Lennox Clinic in Harrogate. Client liaison. Are we done now? Did you ever see her in the company of this man? His name's Alan Banks. No. Did he kill her? This is a surprise. Do you know where Roy is? No. Oh. I've been trying to get hold of him. I need some financial advice. Pensions, investments dash. You know. Financial advice from Roy? Who you called a leech. And a parasite at Christmas? Yeah? I really shouldn't drink port. Why don't you phone him? He's not answering his mobile. Obviously. And there's no reply at home. Either. Did you know he was engaged? Yes. But you didn't tell me. I didn't think you'd be interested. When did you last see him? Last Sunday. He still visits on a Sunday. No matter what. And how did he seem? All right? Oh, as usual. A joke and a laugh. Teasing your mother. You know what he's like. Listen. There's no need to tell Mum about any of this. I wouldn't want her to worry. What's going on, Alan? I don't know, Dad. Listen. If you hear from Roy, get him to call me. On this number right away. It's my new mobile. Okay. Blackham Service Station. Thursday night. There's Jennifer. She fills up the car. And there is our guy. Better copy to the boss. D.I. Morton. What do you think of D.I. Morton? I don't think. I just keep my head down, do as I'm told. Annie didn't deserve to be treated like that. Any news from Banks yet? No. Aha. It's the big brother copper. I was beginning to wonder if that was a line Roy was spinning to keep me straight. 6th floor. It's an odd place for a travel agent. Well, we're not open to the public. Ah. No, I specialize in professional sports tours, you know. Football teams, rugby, cricket, dwarf throwing. I tell you what, you look like your brother. Like a 5-year older version. I'm 12 years older. I'm flattering you, old son. You don't know where Roy is, do you? I can't get hold of him. No? Well, maybe he's taken off somewhere. He likes his expensive holidays. I found this in his house. You don't know who that is, do you? It's me. No. No, the other guy's a business associate of mine. It's Laszlo Ristov. He runs a hotel chain on the Dalmatian coast. Now, why would Roy have a picture of you taken like this through a long lens, as though he or someone else were spying on you? Listen. I don't know how much contact you've had with your brother recently. But I think Roy might be going off the rails. You see, he's engaged to Corinne, who's a lovely girl. But there's this woman he's been having a fling with. Well, he's obsessed with her. Anyway, the other night, Thursday, he calls me. What time? Well, me and the wife were watching TV. So I suppose about 9 o'clock. Anyway, he's not making any sense. He's out in the country somewhere. So the reception's not good. But he sounded, to be honest, he sounded like he was angry. Like he was confused. He was right on the edge. Gareth? Elise? This is Alan Banks, Roy's brother. Oh. Mrs. Lambert. Could you, wait in my office for a minute, love? Sure. This other woman that Roy's been seeing. Her name's Jennifer Lewis. Jennifer's dead? In suspicious circumstances. She was murdered. That's awful. Can you tell me, Dr. Lucas? When did you last see Jennifer? Yesterday morning. We had a strategy meeting here. And did she seem okay? Was her behavior, her mood, normal? I don't know. I'm an obstetrician, not a psychologist. Excuse me. DC Blackstone? Got a suspect. CCTV at Black Home Services. Male passenger. In Jennifer Lewis's car. I'm sending it to you now. Thanks. I understand you and Jennifer Lewis were friends. Who told you that? Your receptionist. She's mistaken. I don't keep friends. I'm not good at friends. You remind me of Jennifer. Wholesome. You're an obstetrician, not a psychologist. Hi. I was wondering if I could have a word with Jennifer Lewis, please. Do you have an appointment? No. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Jennifer hasn't come in today. Do you have a phone number where I could reach her? I'm not allowed to give out personal details of staff. Maybe I can help you. I hope so. It's very important that I find Jennifer Lewis. Why? It's personal. A word, please. DCI Banks. Sorry. What is this? Who are you? D.I. Helen Morton. York's Major Crimes Unit. Where have you been? We've been trying to contact you. Personal business. I left a message. With Annie, with D.S. Cabot. Be at the station first thing in the morning. We'll need a positional statement from you. In connection with the murder of Jennifer Lewis on Thursday night. Do you know Jennifer Lewis? Where's Annie? Maternity leave. No. Annie's maternity leave doesn't start for another week. D.S. Cabot is on maternity leave. You haven't answered my question. Do you know Jennifer Lewis? No. Then why are you looking for her? It's personal. We have a suspect in the company of Jennifer Lewis. An hour or so before she was shot dead. Do you know him? Stevens to be at hockey for 10 o'clock. It's an away game, so he'll need a packed lunch. MJ's got a play date at Josh's at 12 o'clock. And Ben and James can spend the afternoon at your mother's. I should be able to pick them up before 5. And I thought we could take 'em for a pizza. Thanks, Michael. Love you. Search team found this in Jennifer Lewis's desk. Exoticcompanions.co.uk. Carmen, a classic beauty, is an elite companion. Fluent in 3 languages. Carmen offers a genuine GF. Girlfriend experience. Carmen is available to discerning gentlemen. £250 an hour. £800 for overnight stays. It might be nothing. Might not be nothing. This website, Exotic Companions get a full background. And let's trace and interview this Carmen person. Corinne Whitman, Roy Banks' fiancée. Her alibi checks out. She was at her mother's. Stayed the night. DCI Banks. Interview with Alan Banks concerning the suspicious death of Jennifer Lewis. Commencing 8:41. On Saturday, April the 30th. Here you are, a written statement. Everything I know. Now, can we get through to the incident room and carry on with this inquiry, Please. D.I. Morton. I am still head of this unit, and your brother's a suspect in a Cat 1 murder inquiry. Roy's not a killer. So I'm afraid the incident room's off limits to you, DCI Banks. Jennifer Lewis. Shot once in the head. On her way, we believe, to see you. We found this in the victim's car. Why do you suppose she had your address? I'm not sure. Did she come to your house on Thursday night? I don't know. I didn't get home until after 11 o'clock. Because you were in the pub with D.S. Cabot. Did you know Jennifer was having an affair with your brother? Yes. It's all there in the statement. According to his business partner, Gareth Lambert, Roy was obsessed with her. Roy's not that type. He doesn't get obsessed with women. Treats them like shit. If you want to know the truth. Are we done now? No. Thursday night. As you can see, Roy's on his phone at 20:34. Hi. It's Roy. Listen. I've got myself into a bit of trouble and I need your help. And it's not my fingers in the till, if that's what you're thinking. I'm in a bit of a mess and I wouldn't bother you, but there's no one else. Please call me back as soon as you get this. I need your help, Alan. You didn't mention this in your statement. Halfway down I refer to the phone message, but not the content. So, did you help him? I haven't been able to find him. But you looked for him. Even though he's a suspect. I didn't know that at the time. But you knew something was amiss with him. After all, you didn't inform us of your whereabouts yesterday. As head of this unit, and on call, you should have been contactable all day yesterday. Well, it's lucky you were here to cover for me, eh? My phone was out of action. I was worried about my brother. I lost track of time. My mistake. If you were me, you might think you were trying to find your brother and protect him from the consequences of a criminal inquiry. Roy's not a killer. Jennifer's dead. Roy's missing, having been seen in her car an hour before she was shot. Plus this. I'm in a mess. I need your help, Alan. That could mean anything. He sounds scared. Yes. And he's looking to me to protect him from the consequences of what he was about to do to Jennifer. One shot to the head. Looks premeditated, to me. Roy's not a killer. I know my brother. Do you? Intelligence sweep through your brother's life. Open and close source material. Going back 20 years. Every credit card purchase. Every website visited. Every business transaction. Every bet on every dog race. Every foreign trip. So you've turned information into knowledge and extrapolated a full psychological profile on Roy, which proves he's capable of murder. He's not a bunch of pixels on your computer screen. You may as well ask me to take a look at you, clothes, makeup, hairstyle, and jump to a whole load of conclusions. You've led a sheltered life. You had a rather domineering father, who you still look up to. But you deliberately sought out and married a man the exact opposite. Boss. And now you live in an ordinary, controlled, suburban life. Keeping your head down and plodding your way up the career ladder. Boss. I could say all that. But I might be wrong. Because I don't know you. Roy is a flesh and blood human being. In the real, dirty, messy world. Which is where we work in this unit. You need to understand that. Watch your feet, boss. Boys? Give us a minute. Roy? Weapon? No sign. We've recovered the bullet. .22. The same caliber. As killed Jennifer Lewis. What did you say about Troy? I didn't tell his brother everything. He was going on about Jennifer. Snap. Is Carmen the reason that Roy and Jennifer were killed? We found the weapon. Same as killed Jennifer. It's a setup. Or you're clutching at straws. Out the way. Police. Get on the floor. If one of your boys turned out like Roy, or died like Roy, you'd want to know the truth about them, the whole of the truth. Subtitles by memory on smells. UKSubtitles.ru. Subtitles by memory on smells. UKSubtitles.ru. You'll want overshoes, DCI Banks. It's like an abattoir in there. Have frontal lobe on my instep. As greetings go, D.I. Morton. I've had warmer morning. I'm thinking of starting a campaign dash. Anyone convicted of a serious crime committed during antisocial hours automatically gets another 5 years. I'm sure your husband would agree. Victim's daughter said the shot was fired around midnight. It took her 4 hours to get to a phone, so we had a lie-in to found the body. Ooh, that bad? Pretty bad. Morning, boss. You'll need overshoes, yes I know. Weapon? Shotgun, probably sawn off. Definite ID? Keith Andrew Rothwell, freelance accountant. Why hasn't that been bagged? We were waiting for? I like to be sure every scrap of intel is extracted on scene before any goes to forensics. I don't bag until the last minute. Lives here with his wife. Last night was their 25th wedding anniversary. And also the daughter, Hannah. 16, I spoke to her briefly. Happy anniversary. I trust we're circulating a description of the suspect. Or do you prefer to wait on that too? T.S. Chapman put it out an hour ago. What there was of it. You can call me Win, you know. He was a big man, smelt musty. Barely spoke. Sounds a bit like you, sir. Tetchy's on their way, Win. So how much do accountants earn these days? No sign of robbery. Hannah says not, but we'll have Mrs. Rothwell verify it when she gets up. Gets up? Doctor says she wasn't ready to talk to us. Requested sedatives. Though we'll need a good photo of Mr. Rothwell. Preferably from when he still had a head. I'd wait. Hannah Rothwell, DCI Banks. Who I thought was resting. Mum wanted me to keep an eye on things. Sorry, Hannah. Sorry for your loss. Do you remember what time the doorbell rang, Hannah? 10ish. I thought Dad was on his phone, as usual. And Mum had forgotten her keys. So I answered it. And then he pushed me inside. Tied me up. And put tape on my mouth. Did he do anything else? Just sat there, waiting. And then he tied Mum up, and dragged Dad outside. And it went very quiet, until... Hannah, can you think of any reason why someone would want to hurt your dad? Not really, though I didn't know him that well. I mean we weren't exactly. He works a lot. Worked. You'd better talk to Mum. It's usually just me and her and Tom when he's around. Tom? My brother, he's traveling across America, but we're not exactly sure where he is at the moment. So you'd better talk to your mum. Don't worry, we will. Morning, both. Morning, Ron. Another day. Another decapitated accountant. Roadblocks have been set up on approaches to the airport, mainline stations, and major routes out of the area. Extra resources have been made available, so anything you need, just let me know. A few more hours in bed wouldn't go amiss. Those old bones starting to creak, Inspector? You don't care about my body, you pay me for my mind. You joining us for the briefing, Ron? No, but I do want to be kept fully updated on progress, please. Are you going to personalize this a bit? Why? Well, we're looking to get one of those interactive whiteboards now. Yeah? Great. Now that we have a resident intelligence expert keeping us up to date. If it ain't broke, new day, Alan. We have to wipe the sleep from our eyes and embrace it. Can't afford to get left behind. Isn't that right, D.I. Morton? Yes, sir. Where are these extra resources coming from? I've learned not to look a gift horse in the mouth. And neither should you. Before and after gut reactions, what does this look like to you? Sort of like a jelly baby, after its head's been bitten off. A hit. Blowing someone's head clean off with a shotgun is not as easy as it looks. You need to know you're doing so. The question is, why would someone take out a contract on a Yorkshire accountant? Depends if he's any good or not. Alright, let's start with the current client list. There's not even a parking ticket on the system. He's been freelance for the last 5 years. 20 before that he was at Hatchard and Pratt on the high street. Get down there. We need to find out who Keith Rothwell was and who benefits from his death, and if he really bought that house by filling out tax returns. We need to look at the whole family. So we need to locate Tom Rothwell ASAP. Helen. Well, I'd like the Rothwells' online history for the last 3 months, including what social media the kids have been using. Quick result on this, Superintendent McLaughlin might even put a few quid behind the bar. Should anyway, we need to welcome the new arrival. Oh, no. I don't like pubs. Banks. On my way. SoCo have found something. This way, this way. Yeah, this is a very fast-moving inquiry. At this stage I would simply urge anyone with any information to contact the police immediately. Thank you. That's the only comment I'm prepared to make at this stage. Thank you very much. I'll just get on, thank you. See, I'm one of those weirdos who only uses his phone to phone people. Right. You do all that, do you? Social media. You're not twittering now, are you? Tweeting? No. Only when I'm doing something. Or I'm with someone. Really interesting. Well, none of the stuff that I've seen qualifies as interesting. Bored people typing, I'm quite hungry, when they could be making. But it's about connections, DCI. Banks. And that's what we do, isn't it? We find them, we make sense of them. Now that piece you just did too. Camera, it's already being watched. On various platforms worldwide. Can we drop the DCI banks from this platform, please? Boss is fine, or Alan, in the pub. I don't, you don't like pubs. It's wadding, once part of the shotgun cartridge. Obviously you can buy them. But you can make your own. And this is not commercial, looks like it might have been made from a magazine. So why do it yourself? To save money? Or because you're a gun enthusiast? You got a magnifying glass? Is that a? I think it is. And that could be a dash. Penis, DCI banks. First time I've seen one through a magnifying glass. You? I'm more interested in their submachine gun standing next to it. Gained entry to the house around 11 p.m. last night. Police appealed for potential witnesses to come forward. This is a very fast-moving inquiry. At this stage, I would simply urge anyone with any information to contact the police immediately. Thank you, that'll be all. That's the only comment I'm prepared to make at this stage. Thank you very much. That's it. Can we just get on? Thank you. Boss. Anything? Deliberately locked files. On this one. We've taken everything. Well, liaise with D.I. Morton please. Sure. Well, I hope you're taking a note of everything that you take. I really don't think there is anything else. You can't come up with a single word about a man you worked with for 2 decades? I've given you one. Apart from ordinary. Keith was a bit tight, truth be told, with money. But the fact is there is nothing to say about him. He kept himself to himself and I expect he had a lot to put up with. Why? Have you met Mary? She's very particular. Proud, I suppose you'd say. At least she gets adjectives. Did you socialize with their Rothwells? Not really. Not at all after he left. But I've known Mary most of my life. Mr. Hatchard, our founder. My uncle's partner, he was her dad. Is that how Keith got the job? Through Mary? Nothing wrong with that, is there? There you go, Keith's client file. From the time he left us. Why did he leave you? You'll find out anyway, won't you? He was asked to go, in the end. Sacked, I supposed you'd say. The restaurant was average. It was Keith's choice. He had carbonara, which was unusual. He usually had bolognese. I had a lasagna. We're more interested in last night's events. After you arrived home, Mrs. Rothwell. I thought Hannah had covered that. Can I ask you then about your husband's business dealings? You can, but I don't know anything. Still, Keith was an accountant. He didn't. Well, I didn't pretend to be interested, and he didn't expect me to. What about aside from the accountancy? Are you aware of any sidelines that he may have had? If you're looking for skeletons, my husband's cupboard will prove disappointing. He had no vices, he hardly drank, never even smoked. We're simply trying, you're wondering if this was all paid for legitimately. Well, Keith was good at what he did, and he was always careful with money. He'd never even holiday abroad. He preferred the Yorkshire coast. What about you, Mrs. Rothwell? Were you satisfied with that? We hadn't been away together for years. Do you expect this to make the newspapers? Yes. Yes, we hoped so. Given that we are trying to catch the killer. You've managed to gather yourself remarkably quickly, Mrs. Rothwell. And you consider yourself a sensitive reader of people. Detective? Only Hannah said you first spoke to her whilst wiping her father's brain off your shoe. Shame you weren't awake to look after her. D.I. Morton. Excuse us. It's worth remembering that, irrespective of anything else, she has just lost her husband. And Hannah her father. Why don't you make sure the local intelligence gathering is being handled properly? I don't call going door to door intelligence gathering. Them make up a name for it, and I'll meet you back at the station. I'm sorry about that, Mrs. Rothwell. Is this postcard from your son? May I? Yes. Is this the last communication that you had from him? Yes. And how long has he been away? 3.5 months. 18 years old, traveling on his own. You must miss him. Of course. And your husband? Well, Keith was never much for discussing his feelings, but yes. I imagine so. So Tom leaving his father's name off this, sent 10 days ago, is just an oversight? You have to ask him. We will, when we find him. You seem very protective of your son. Very protective of both my children, Inspector. Despite what some may think. He hated him. They hated each other, as far as I could see. You sure you don't want a drink? No, I'd like to get this done as quickly as possible, for your daughter's sake, thanks. That's all I know, really. I only cleaned there a few months. But long enough to witness regular arguments between Mr. Rothwell and his son. Hiram, anyway. You couldn't help it. And were they about anything in particular? Don't know, it wasn't like I had time to stand and listen. I was too scared to stop for a second. Everyone up there was scared. Scared of what? Of her. Mrs. Rothwell. You felt sorry for him. It was like he was trying to keep out of the way. All the while. In his own house. Ready for an update? You're keen. Anything on the wadding, Ken? Within the hour, boss. We're still waiting on the techies too. And I thought the whole point of computers was that they were faster than this. Right, Keith Rothwell was notoriously mean, but there had to be something more. I strongly suspect you'll find specialist porn, or reference to it, on his machines. It could well be that that's where he was making his real money. Which now all goes to Mary Rothwell. If pushed, I'd say either she or the son, or both of them, hired our shooter, who used that wadding to make some kind of point. You think that Rothwell had it in him to get involved in something illegal? When he was sacked from H&P for fiddling timesheets. Could have been stuck off if Mary hadn't stepped up and asked Daddy's firm to keep quiet and protect his reputation. So, almost certainly domestic. Possibly with a bit of dirty money. That's my instinct. I mean, America is awake now, so it's just a matter of time before we find Tom Rothwell. Could well be a long day, but I reckon we'll have a result by the end of it. Excellent work, Inspector. You going along with this, I presume? Well, we haven't really. DCI Banks, a bit formal. Settling in all right? Yes, very well. In fact, it was Helen, doing good old-fashioned door-to-door inquiries. Who confirmed Mary Rothwell hadn't exactly been truthful to us about relations between father and son. Helen, what have you got there? It's from the press office. They've had a call about their photograph, in the first editions of the Post. Of Keith Rothwell? The man we found in the garage. Keith Rothwell. Not according to a woman in Leeds. She say that this is someone called Robert Calvert. It must be difficult for you. Moving to a different department. Getting used to new people. Say if it was me, I'd just say, you're not fitting in very well. Are you? Have you heard from D.S. Cabot? Yes, she's doing well. You must miss her. Of course. But we all have to carry on. Or else. Annie's a good colleague. And what exactly makes a good colleague, do you think? DCI Banks. You actually want me to tell you how to fit in? Well, suffer a trip to the pub. For a start. Using nicknames is good. Or at least don't refer to your colleagues by their rank all the time. Crack a joke or two, preferably at someone else's expense. Buy a round of coffees. It's really not rocket science. What's this? It was found in Rothwell's jacket. He put spent matches back in their box. Turned round the other way from the live ones. Mary Rothwell wasn't wrong when she said that he was careful. She also said that he didn't smoke. In her 70s, smells of sprouts. Only talks to cats. Oh, hi. Yeah, come in. Yeah, it's him. Robert Calvert? Yeah? You're absolutely sure? We were in a relationship for 6 months. So, have they printed the wrong picture? We gave it to them, Miss Jefferies. It's Keith Rothwell. He was shot dead in the early hours of this morning. When did you last see him? About 4 months ago. Did you know that he was married? Not that it would have necessarily mattered. Could you describe what he was like? He was funny, adventurous. Makes sense, his being married. I travel a lot, and there was a limit to what we could offer each other. Maybe that's why it worked. Except you split up. Because I got the feeling that I wasn't the only one, and married or not. All I asked was that he was with me when we were together. Have you got any photographs of you together? No, why? What do you do, Miss Jefferies? Play the clarinet, Inspector. You don't believe me, do you? That's why you want to see photos. Where did you meet? Leeds Town Hall, at a Tchaikovsky recital. Robert loved music. All different kinds of music. You played in these concerts? Yeah? You've performed at Sydney Opera House? Yes. Yeah, I hope to again in a couple of months. Budapest first. I leave in a few days. You didn't strike me as a classical musician, whereas you do strike me as a policeman. I thought you lot did courses on not judging books by their covers. Is there any reason why you don't have a very high opinion of us, Miss Jefferies? Have you had previous dealings with the police? No, but I do tend to try and avoid people who choose to spend their days being suspicious of others. Ella Fitzgerald wasn't enough that she was a world-class singer. She played the clarinet and the trumpet. Yes. Win, can you give me a minute? Please. Thanks. He had a flat. Do you think you could take us there? Yeah? Rothwell's computer files have been unlocked. There's no porn, there's just pages of numbers and letters. They're being analyzed now, but I think they are account details. There's one code that appears on most of the documents. NCLFLS1. There's a solicitor in Leeds. LS1. His name's Norcliffe. I thought, while you were in town. Can you text the address to Helen? That's great work, Win. Cheers. Ken wants to talk to you. Dirty Squad have sent a sample of the material that their wadding came from. It's Dutch hardcore, pretty niche. Gynecology meets automatic weapons, and it's at least 10 years old. I mean, most of this stuff you can get online now, apparently. Contact cybercrime, tell them that you need a list of relevant sites and start requisitioning databases. You want payment details, as well as usernames. Most men won't give their actual identities. I'm sure Ken doesn't need an intelligence expert to tell him that. First exotic companions, now gun porn. Do I look like a sexual deviant? Yes. 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 Win, we also need everything you can get on Robert Calvert, please. Right. And Pamela Jefferies. Will do. Thanks, Win. Right, see you later. There you go. Thank you. It's probably best not to touch anything. He had a complete tin ear. He loved listening. Mr. Norcliffe is not in any kind of trouble, is he? Would you be surprised if he was? Of course. It's Robert. And was this Robert as well? And was he man who left his CDs in a mess, or one who put spent matches back in the box? You don't seem very worried, Mrs. Graves, considering you haven't heard from Mr. Norcliffe since yesterday. He's the boss. He does what he likes. And does he often do what he likes? He's out of the office a lot, yes. And you don't always ask where he is, even though you're his secretary? It's why I'm his secretary. So this is nothing unusual? He does answer his phone to me, usually. But he hasn't today. Faster on the train. And the music's better. Did you see any CDs or records at the Rothwells? Why? You left a search team at Norcliffe's? Yeah, and we're running his mobile numbers now. Nobody honest needs 3 phones. Also, Alan, I believe you already know DCI Stuart Burgess from soccer. Yes. And this is DI Helen Morton. Joined us recently from Regional Intelligence. We've Heard good things. Tell us about Norcliffe, Alan. No sightings of him after he left his regular restaurant, 3 hours before the murder. Searching is underway, although obviously he has a start on us. Locating him is now a top priority, alongside our gunman, and Tom Rothwell. We've found him, I was about to tell you, in San Diego. Through Facebook. He's been advised to return. You'll have to explain to Banksy what Facebook is. I assume this is where the extra resources came from. So why are Soccer sending people down to the death of an accountant? You know who this is, I presume? Martin Fleming, salt of the earth politician who'd have you believe MP stands for Man of the People, and subject of a 2-year investigation into serious fraud and money laundering offences. Don't tell me that you voted for him. Of course you did, he's right up your street. Everyone's in it for themselves in the end, Banksy. You'd know. It seems that Mr. Fleming was at Cambridge with one Daniel Norcliffe. Any connection gets flagged upon our system, including your headless accountant. Norcliffe would have needed certain expertise to set things up for Fleming. A non-entity like Rothwell would have been perfect. Until he didn't need him anymore. I don't know. I don't care, for that matter. We're in it for the big fish. We don't need you disturbing their waters by chasing Norcliffe and your shooter. That's why I'm here. Make sure you keep us up to date, and stay well away from Martin Fleming. As I said, DCI Burgess, we're happy to cooperate. Yes, I can see that. You wouldn't know it, but Banksy and I are old friends. We trained together. Interestingly, he seemed to like me less and less the more I got promoted. At some point Detective Burgess started hunting personal glory rather than real criminals. Yes, one could never accuse you of hunting glory. No offense. Well, don't worry, we'll give Fleming a wide berth, but I'll also give him the benefit of the doubt. Not only because, given the severity of their crime we're investigating, but also because it's perfectly possible that he's a corrupt businessman, and a good MP. You do realize you've just stormed out of your own office? Initial fingerprint comparison between Calvert's flat and Rothwell's body. Perfect match. Looks like we're chasing the killer of the world's most interesting accountant. Okay, listen up. I'm heading into Leeds. D.I. Morton is in charge in my absence. Right, the search of Norcliffe's property hasn't turned up much. But Soccer have been working all night with Rothwell's computer files. Soccer? Who called the cavalry? He's been depositing considerable sums offshore over a number of years. All right, how about this? Rothwell and Norcliffe are working happily together. Then Rothwell starts screaming money off the top. Norcliffe finds out that he's being ripped off, decides he doesn't need a partner anymore. So he hires someone to kill Rothwell. Sorry, sir. Calvert's flat was broken into overnight. That was the caretaker. Apparently they made quite a mess. All right, Win. Get forensics down. there. I'll call in while I'm in town, then. You and Helen go to Arkbeck Farm. Did Mary Rothwell know Norcliffe? Oh, and I want you to check through their music collection. Norcliffe doesn't do criminal cases. Does he? It might be worth finding out who he referred them to. Maybe that's where we'll find our shooter. Who says that looking at porn all day rots your brain? Obviously makes your hair fall out, though. You can't really think that he was having an affair. We're not in a position to go into details, Mrs. Rothwell, but there may several things he kept to himself. Well, Keith had no imagination whatsoever. Except where it came to timesheets. Apparently. I'll repeat the names when you're in a position to reveal what you think you know about my husband. I assume I'll be the first to hear it. Pamela Jefferies. I hope I won't have to read it in the papers. No. Robert Calvert. I told you once. We can finish this at the station. If you prefer. I've never heard of him. How about Daniel Norcliffe? Think about it this time. No. What about your son? When's your son back? Tomorrow, for the funeral. We weren't sure he'd bother, given what we now know about his relationship with his dad. If you had children I have. I look forward to meeting Tom. Hopefully he's got a better memory for names. Mom. It's as though reality doesn't actually touch her. Isn't that what money does? Insulates you? I wouldn't know. It's distinctly drafty since I bought a house I couldn't afford. And a mortgage even a loan shark wouldn't give you these days. How old are they? Your kids? Is that relevant? No, I suppose not. Hi. Do you want some sugar? No, thank you. There you go. Thanks. I do have some more questions. I'm afraid. Okay. Did Robert ever talk about his business dealings? No. What about Daniel Norcliffe? Did he ever mention that name? Never even told me his real name. Me and Robert didn't do reality. So what did you do? It's important that I try to understand, or get a sense of why this careful, controlled man would take a huge risk. What have you come up with so far? Necessity, I suppose. I think he felt trapped by how people saw him. And perhaps how he saw himself. And maybe came to realize that he wasn't actually being true to who he really was. He was still controlled, though. I mean, he must have been. To keep two lives going. Let's keep it in the moment. That's what he used to say. Maybe that's why he loved music so much, because it holds you in the moment. You know, you remind me of him. I've got something to show you, so wherever I am in the world, I make sure there are two things with me, my instrument, and this. This is Ella Fitzgerald singing live at a club in Hollywood, in the early 60s. This is seriously rare. Yeah, I think I've got a copy of this on CD. Yeah, me too, and digitally. But neither of them sound like this. Nothing could sound like this. That night was supposed to be on vinyl. You know what I mean? I'd love to hear it. I've got a rehearsal. Oh, yeah? No, of course. I'm home tonight, though, if you I'm not actually sure. Take it with you now, and you can give it back to me when we next see each other. As long as it's before I go to Budapest. Hello. RDC. You took your time. I'm not responding to a call. There's been a break-in. Sometime after our lot left last night. Same technique as at Calvert's? Yeah, I've left forensics down there. But I don't hold out much hope. Looks like we're not the only ones searching for Daniel Norcliffe. Did you get anything from Pamela Jeffries? Well, nothing to speak of. Mary Rothwell seems to think Keith having an affair was impossible. She would. Mind you, he was punching well above his weight. Maybe they shared something that went beyond what Mary Rothwell and others can understand. The music at Arcbeck, half her CDs probably came free with the Sunday papers. It's exactly what you'd expect. Is there any particular reason? I've got the details of that criminal lawyer that Norcliffe referred clients to. I'll get a full client list, and get DC Blackstone to cross-reference it against the porn data. Go Banksy. Did you just call me Banksy? You said dash. Well, don't. Please. Not ever. Tell you what, just email it to me. Yeah? Well, I'd better phone home, Ken. Looks like we're in for a long night. Okay, I'm going out for coffee. Who wants what? Not for me, thanks. No, thanks. No, thanks. No, cool, good. I've got to talk to you. I don't want any trouble, right? So you just tell me what I want. Then I'll be gone. Why don't you tell me? Because I'm not leaving until you tell me. Don't tell me you don't know. Don't treat me like I'm stupid. Where is he? Where is he? Please, please. Somebody has been following us. We have to trust each other, and I know nothing about you. Things got out of hand. And I hit him. You have to come and hear me. In Budapest. Come with me. You have to leave now. Subtitles by memory on Smells. UKSubtitles.ru. Keith Andrew Rothwell. Blowing someone's head off with a shotgun is not as easy as it looks. We need to find out who Keith Rothwell was, and who benefits from his death. When's your son back? Tomorrow for the funeral. Rothwell's computer files have been unlocked. There's one code that appears on most of them. LS1. There's a solicitor in Leeds, LS1. His name's Norcliffe. Martin Fleming. Subject of a 2-year investigation into fraud. Seems Mr. Fleming was at Cambridge with Daniel Norcliffe. Norcliffe would have needed certain expertise. A non-entity like Rothwell was perfect. That's why I'm here. To make sure you stay away from Martin Fleming. Rothwell and Norcliffe are working happily together. Then Rothwell starts creaming money off the top. Norcliffe finds out he's being ripped off. Decides he doesn't need a partner anymore. So he hires someone to kill Rothwell. They've had a call about the photograph in the first edition of the Post. Keith Rothwell. Not according to a woman in Leeds. Yeah, it's him. Robert Calvert. Yeah? We were in a relationship for 6 months. treat me like I'm stupid. Where is he? Where is he? Please.